What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Hot Corner podcast. Here we have Alex and Tyler in the building. Thanks for the wait, guys. Tyler came home, so we couldn't do the podcast unless it was in person, and we didn't have very many days to get together to do that. So now everyone's back home from the holiday season. How was everyone's holiday break?
I was not sober that whole time.
Can confirm.
I remember one day he wakes up and he texts me and he goes, I sent some dirty texts last night.
Mistakes were
Alpha.
made, but it's fine.
He said
I mean, that
words
doesn't
were
sound like a
said that should
mistake to
not
me.
be said.
I got hold on.
Oh,
I don't know what just happened. It still has a tag on it. Don't look at the price. I got a cool, um, yeah, maybe.
yeehaw!
Yo!
Yeehaw!
So that's pretty cool. That's pretty
Yeah,
baller.
That's pretty dope.
yeah.
Yeah.
Who got that for him?
Probably God.
Oh,
I think God did.
that's me.
Not you, Brendan.
That's that's
You're not
because we
God.
sang happy birthday to him on Christmas.
We didn't even do that. I was kind of disappointed.
Yeah, that's true. We didn't.
What?
Um, yeah. Tyler was back in town. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Holidays here were all right. My kid was out of town, which kind of sucked, but I actually just had Christmas with her today.
Nice. How'd that go?
So that was all right. Her and my father and his fiance, not fiance, whatever the hell they are, came over, and it was pretty good. She had a good time. She had got a lot of shit, so now it's like all over the apartment, which is cool.
Nice.
But she's happy. That's all that matters.
That's awesome.
How was
Nobody
your
cares about
holiday,
me.
Brendan? Sorry. Yeah,
Is
no one really cares about you.
It's all right. Got to see the homies. We balled up for a day. Um,
And I almost died.
yeah, and my toe is still bruised. I have a big black bruise in the middle of my toe.
You know, you know what's incredible about that is like 2 years ago when Tyler came back home, we were playing basketball. I like didn't intercept a pass and my thumb jammed really bad. And it was bad for like a month. And you guys like, oh, you're such a little bitch about it. And now, oh, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, you're still bruised. So where's all the hate now, buddy?
Yeah,
That's a bruise, not a
I just didn't
jam.
complain and announce it like you did.
Oh,
Yikes.
That's true. I did go to Twitter and Facebook and complain about my poor thumb. That math checks
Uh,
out. Yeah, thank
like
you.
Jimmy Butler. Speaking of Jimmy Butler,
Fuck Jimmy
he
Butler.
might not be a Miami Heat anymore. So
You know, we should really do a bet because I don't think he's going to be traded.
I truly don't think if he does get traded, it's not going to be to a place he wants to because Pat Riley's going to be PO'd and he's not going to send him anywhere.
100% agree.
There's
Yep.
I'm looking at like the teams right now. I swear the only teams that I think could offer for Jimmy Butler would be like Orlando and would be like Denver. But I don't think either of those teams would want him.
And I don't think Pat Riley would want to trade Jimmy Butler to not only a conference team but a division team too.
Right? I
Granted,
think
I don't know how many times they played each other this year, but I would imagine they have at least one, if not two more games left.
against the Magic.
Yeah, he against the Magic. Yeah, because I would find it unlikely that they would trade within the division.
I could see the Denver trade being a thing, or if they want to take like a low price, I could see Phoenix going in and taking Jimmy Butler, just because even though they don't have the money, they could make it work somehow.
Did you say Phoenix?
Yeah, Phoenix.
So, granted, this is Reddit, but I follow the stuff on Reddit pretty closely, and some journalists were saying that Miami wants nothing to do with Bradley Beal. I
Yeah.
don't know if there's much truth to that or not. I would 100% believe that.
Who
And
would?
it, it,
I don't know a single team that would want Bradley Beal.
right, yeah, exactly. So I think that ended up because they're not going to give up KD. They sure as hell are not going to give up Booker. Like, who else Like Josh
Oh,
Okogie?
no,
Like
yeah,
who are they going to give up?
you would have to give up. I mean, in reality, they would give up Ryan Dunn, who is their star rookie defenseman. They'd probably have to give up like maybe Grayson Allen and then Josh Okogie with maybe a pick. But they don't have much to offer. They want to keep Tyus Jones on the team just so they have a point guard like on their team. Monte Morris is still on their team, but they don't have much for guard play. And you can the nice thing about Jimmy Butler though is you can kind of intertwine him into a two, three, and a four. Like he can guard all of those positions. He can score the ball when he wants to. That's the problem. It's like you don't know what you're gonna get out of him. Because like in Minnesota, you got like a solid couple months until he like completely shut down and just didn't want to be on the team. And then when he went to Philly, he did the same thing. He played for a month and then just stopped. He just didn't want to. And then he went to Miami, did his six to what was it, 6 to 8 years that he's been on that team now. So
So at least 2020 was it 2019 he was traded?
it might have been 2018. I'm gonna take a look quick.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Everything before 2020 is just a giant blur since COVID hit.
Right, we've just been kind of in this mesh. He got traded. He didn't get traded. He got signed in 2019.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so this
Yeah,
is
I
his
don't.
sixth year.
That's another thing. Like who, like maybe a team that's like one piece away for this year, but Jimmy Butler again. Like I respect him as a basketball player. 'Cause he's a hell of a player. But like, what are you supposed to? I mean, he caused a scene at every single stop that he's been. Maybe minus Chicago, but I don't recall.
No,
Maybe you can
even
answer that better.
yeah. So actually, the funny thing about that, there was a podcast. It was who was on? Someone was on that Chicago Bulls team. Oh, Michael Carter Williams went on the Paul George podcast and he was talking about when Fred Hoiberg was the coach for the Chicago Bulls and they lost like I think I think they lost almost every game. They were like 2 and like 10 to start the season. And Fred comes in the locker room and he goes, "All right, let's address something. One, we suck. Two, Jimmy, what is up, man? Like you hate me." And Jimmy goes, "You want to know what I really think? One, you're a baby. You are the softest coach in the league." And he goes, "All right, that's it." So telling your coach that yes, he's soft, that's a little bit of a scene just in the locker room right there.
Yeah, I just don't know like what like again, like if I feel like I really truly am one piece away and I'm willing to like hemorrhage the next 3 or 4 years for like a really good shot at a title, I guess maybe Denver. I'm not really sure.
What
I mean, I,
about
I want to do it if I was Denver, but like, do you really want to take that risk? Like, as a GM, I don't think I could pull that trigger. Like, unless I'm one piece away.
So there's one team that kind of interests me right now, and Tyler, I want to kind of hear what you would think. Memphis. We've talked about Memphis being this team that, has done really well with the roster they have right now. They've brought in cheaper pieces to like build this. Would you bring in a guy like Jimmy Butler to solidify the roster?
No, not at all. You already have Ja, and I mean, like the team isn't bad, but bringing in Jimmy is just going to cause more drama. Obviously, like you guys have been saying, but it's not. I feel like it's not going to change anything. They're still going to be maybe a playoff contender, but Jimmy just I don't see him fitting a role because even like when you have Jaren Jackson and then you have Zach Edey and John Morant, it's like I don't know what Jimmy would really do because I'm trying to picture DeMar DeRozan when he went to the Jazz. I
When
don't
he
want to
went to
say
the
he's
Jazz?
or the Kings.
Okay, all right. I
Um
thought I missed something.
yeah,
Sorry.
no, no. Um but like DeMar DeRozan, he's actually like doing something in Sacramento. But you bring Jimmy to Memphis, it's not going to change anything. Sure, he has a an all right play style, but he's just burnt out. He can't do anything. And again, I don't think like because I know Jimmy said that. Oh, I want to go, like where I'm going to be happy, and I'd assume that would be closer to home, and that's why maybe Houston. Like trade him to like the Rockets, but they don't have anybody to like really give up. But Memphis, he has no role. What is he? What would he do? He can't be the star of the team.
I don't know if he wants to be the star. I think in reality he understands he's not that star guy anymore. Yes, he's a very like headstrong type of player. I think Memphis would be a better fit than Houston. One, I think Houston does have a lot to offer like as a young team, but you're not you're not really getting much in return. In reality, if you do send him to Houston, you're getting probably Dylan Brooks, Fred VanVleet, and a couple of young, maybe a young guy and a pick back. But what I would say is if you're Memphis, you have a starting lineup of Ja Morant, Desmond Bain, um, Conchar, or whatever, Laravia, depending on what they're running with. And then you have Jaren and Zach Edey. You could fill that small forward spot because you have a couple guys who are on pretty large contracts who don't play that much. Marcus Smart, they brought him in. He's a big contract that does not play. You send him over to kind of make the money work. You'll probably end up sending over like Jalen Wells, one of their young guys, or even Yuki, which I don't know who wants a 5'8" point guard.
Yep.
Um,
What are you trying to say, Brendan?
Yeah, Tyler, no one wants you. Sorry. Five
No matter how
seven.
many dirty messages you send.
But there's guys like Gigi Jackson, Jalen Wells. You got Scottie Pippen Jr., like Jake LaRavia. There's young guys on that team that they can trade away to bring in a Jimmy Butler. But I think he would serve a bigger purpose for Memphis as like a two. Because in reality, like their main scorer is Ja Morant, obviously. But do you see Desmond Bain as like a number two option, or do you see him as a number three? I could see him kind of mix both between Jimmy and Desmond Bain, and you're still keeping your DPOY of Jaren Jackson Jr. and your young stud center in Zach Edey. So I think that would be a cool fit for him. I could see Miami doing that. They've done trades in the past with Shane Battier and stuff like that. So I truly think that would be a good spot for him. But that is the one and only spot I could see work.
I just don't think that they'd want more drama with it because I feel like anywhere he goes, he's just gonna. There's always gonna be something that doesn't fit Jimmy's role, unless with him slowly dwindling out of the league, maybe he has a change. But even then, like having a veteran that has the experience that Jimmy has, I still like Marcus Smart has been in the league, but he contributes nothing. So is that going to be the same thing as Jimmy too? Like obviously having a veteran on your team. eh, Memphis is still young too. So that's a thing too, but it's I just feel like Jimmy is just kind of done.
He's
Like
such
if
an
you
unknown. Like
exactly
like
like
an like an unknown quantity. Like what are you going to get out of Jimmy Butler? He's either going to like save your team or completely tank the team.
Yeah, but is that really his fault though? Because like, yes, he's struggling right now, and like he talked about, it's hard. It's hard to play at that high of a level when you don't enjoy doing what you're doing. Like, if it wasn't such a tough time in Miami with their team being so up and down with injuries, with bad play, people probably aren't giving the same amount of effort that they were back in the day. I think this team in Memphis is great because they give 110% effort every single game. It's just like Orlando. When you watch Memphis and Orlando, they're running nonstop. They're grabbing offensive rebounds, they're passing the ball, they're not playing selfish. They're just they're meshing together well. Now, you're not giving up pieces that are working right now. If you're Memphis, you're giving up guys who really aren't playing in Marcus Smart, Gigi Jackson. You would probably give up a big man like Castleton. Like, you don't need to give up guys that are like right now. Miami isn't going to win right now. They're probably just going to sell Jimmy Butler, sell Duncan Robinson, and kind of do that pick and choose filler to where they can stay afloat, and then they can bring in a new guy because they never really tank. I don't know when's the last time Miami's had a top five pick. Was it Dwayne Wade?
I think so, yeah. I think that seems about
You
right.
totally cut out on my end. I didn't catch what all you said. When was the last time Miami what?
When did Miami ever have a top five pick besides Dwayne Wade? Like they don't just tank. They stay afloat all the time. So I don't think they're going to be giving up Jimmy for, you know, they're not going to just take a bunch of guys who are like 12 years old. They're going to be asking for just mid-level guys.
Yeah, I mean, like I probably look at this a little bit different than you guys, but like again, like if I'm Memphis, like I mean, if it wasn't for Jaw doing the whole gun shit and getting suspended, like Memphis is a title contender like the last 2 years. Like they were like you look in 2020, 2021, and 2022, like they were the up and coming team. Like they were young, they were nasty, they were vigilant, like you said, like every single game is just maximum energy and like Ja Morant is so goddamn disgusting at what he does. Like you could pair him with anybody and it would be good. But do you again like do you really want to ruin that for maybe a half a year to like a year and a half of Jimmy Butler? I just, in my opinion, like I don't think that's worth it because I don't think again, you don't know if Jimmy Butler's going to show up, if he's going to be happy, if he's going to play well. Like he's going to have every excuse in the world if he doesn't want to be there to not play. Like to me as a GM, like the biggest thing that I'm looking for is okay, does he want to play here and does he want to compete? With Jimmy, you just never know. Like when he's good, he's fantastic. He's probably a top five, top 10 player in the NBA. But when he's bad, he's horrendously bad. And it saps all like chemistry. It saps all energy. Look at us and the Timberwolves. Like even just like there was some friction in Philly, like now there's friction in Miami. Like it doesn't always have to be this way with a superstar, but for some reason with Jimmy, it's always that way. Like I can't as a GM, I can't take that risk, which is probably why I'm not a GM.
See, I don't know, man. Like, I don't see Jimmy Butler as some bum though. Like, I haven't seen him put up like bad numbers. Yeah, he's not playing great this year, but he's not playing top 10 like he has been the past 5 years. That's what we're comparing it to is what he did when he was in the bubble and he took him all the way to the championship. Same thing 2 years ago when he took him all the way to the championship. He's still a valuable asset to a contending team. Yes, he's a hard guy to deal with, but so are we. Like, we don't work together 24/7. We would kill each other. But like for this guy, man, he could make a difference on a team. And I truly believe that if there was a contending team that needs one piece away, he would be a good fit. You just have to understand where he comes from is a very, you need to work your ass off to get where you want to be. This dude constantly worked his ass off to drive these mid-level Miami Heat teams to the championship and make them what they are now.
I fully agree with everything you said, but like the flip side to that is like Miami's horrible, right? I mean, not horrible, but like Miami's not good right now. And a large part of that I would attribute to maybe not the majority, but I would attribute that to Jimmy Butler. Like he hasn't really been putting the effort in this year. He's been hit or miss. Now he's suspended. Like the upside is fantastic, but the downside is horrific as well. Like you're giving up your future pieces for an unknown quantity. Like you don't know which Jimmy Butler you're going to get. Like he could mesh well for a month, and then all of a sudden he's got a disagreement with somebody, and now he does his antics, and now all of a sudden you're stuck with an expiring contract that nobody's going to want to pick up for that much money. Like, what do you do?
See, I see it a little different. Yes, I agree. Miami hasn't been that great this year, and that's just because their roster in general isn't very good. And yes, his effort has been piss poor. He's 35 years old. You can't be playing like a 17-year-old who's not getting the ball. Like that's unacceptable. But I think what's going on is that there's two stubborn men in this office. There's Jimmy Butler and there's Pat Riley. And if Pat Riley gets his way, it's benching Jimmy Butler in the last 5 minutes of the game. If you go to work, if you're an NBA player or just a basketball player in general, and you work your ass off all game to get where you're at, just to be benched in crunch time, the 5 minutes to maybe win the game, yeah, wouldn't you be pretty PO'd like the whole day. See, I just see it
Yeah,
that way. I see a dude who he gets mad because yes, it didn't go his way, but that's the way they've been winning was through him. So why are you sitting him? Because you're upset at him? Boo-hoo. You're a grown-ass man. You run an organization. Stop fluttering your feelings and win a fucking ball game.
yeah, but I mean, you could turn around and say the exact same thing about Jimmy Butler. Like,
Oh, for
stop being a
sure.
bitch, go out there and play. So, like, I'm like, I don't think either of us are necessarily wrong in our critiques. Tyler as well. It's just we're looking at it in different ways. But
Right.
like, I I I don't feel any sympathy for him. Like, he wanted to go to Miami. He begged to go to Miami. He goes to Miami. He's got some great years. All of a sudden, the wheels start shaking a little bit, and it's just the end of the world. He doesn't want to be there. It's Pat Riley's this horrible person. Like, it starts with Jimmy. It starts with those stupid ass comments about, oh yeah, if I would have played, we would have beat Boston. Well, you didn't. So that doesn't matter. Like, that's completely irrelevant. Like, I fully support Pat Riley saying like maybe you shouldn't like talk shit to the other teams if you're not going to play. I fully respect that because it's like that that doesn't matter. It's a hypothetical situation that we'll never be able to relive, and you weren't a part of it. You decided to sit out or were injured or whichever. Like, actions have consequences, and if you're going to be like a drama queen behind the stage, like okay, you're benched, with 5 minutes to go in the game. Well, I mean, if you weren't sullying everybody, then maybe you wouldn't be benched. Like, it, both, I don't think both sides are correct or wrong, but I mean, Jimmy's got to have some semblance of like being tied down in reality. But
So yeah, I mean, as just a Bulls fan, I love Jimmy. I've always loved Jimmy, just how he carries himself and how he shows the love on the court and everything. He did it for us, and I understood where he was coming from when he played in Chicago, and I also understood where he was coming from when he played for Minnesota. Like he is a completely high-driven minded man. He does not just give up and throw shit down. And it seems like this narrative of like when shit starts going wrong, he makes these comments because he's a little petty, and it seems like, oh yeah, he's cooked, he's done. Now this year, this is the prime year of like an example of this guy has given up. He has stopped playing for them. But like I said, man, if you know you're going to be taken out in the last 5 minutes of the game of crunch time, there's no point. There is no point. You are the highest paid player on the team. You are the best player on the team, and you're not playing the crunch time minutes to win the game when you know you can do it. It's just I just don't see that work environment being successful for him. And
then again, like
I think Memphis would be different because fresh face, you want him to be on top of the world. So you give him, the second option. You just give him the second scoring option. Desmond Bane already is a good teammate. Like he's a good playmaker, so we don't have to worry about that. Jaren Jackson Jr. doesn't isn't a primary scorer anyways. He's a very good defender. So I think right there would just be a great fit. Now, I still agree with you. I think in reality, it's just he needs to stop being a bitch. He needs to show up to work and do his job. And unfortunately, this year he's not doing it. He's just not playing well and he's just not showing why people should get him.
yeah, I guess to me, like the way I kind of look at it too is like, okay, if you want to be the leader, if you want to be the face of a franchise, if you want to do all this stuff, like you have to be there at all times. You can't just like when things are going bad, you can't just be like, all right, fuck this, I'm out. Like you need to be a leader. And I love watching Jimmy play. Like I liked watching him on the Bulls. I liked watching him play for us. Hated watching him on Philly, but that's just because I can't stand the Sixers. But like he's a hell of a computer. Like the 2020 bubble Jimmy, woofda. That guy was fantastic. But it's like again, you're still stuck with this drama queen who like the second he doesn't get his way, it's the end of the world and I want out. Like suck it up, big guy. Like you're making $50 million a year. You'll be fine.
Yeah, it's crazy. You can tell we're from the Midwest after Alex said oofta.
Oofda. Oop.
And obviously we're, two Timberwolves fans and a Chicago fan. Makes sense. Um,
Yeah.
Kind of going through the NBA, Mike Brown got fired,
Yeah, that's bullshit.
and now the Kings are on a 3 or 4 game winning streak.
Yeah, that'll
So
end.
yeah, I mean, I don't see them being a playoff team whatsoever. They're on a three
I
game
hate
winning
to
streak,
I
whatever.
hate to admit it, but it seems like you were right from a few weeks ago. I guess rebuilding was the right option.
Baby.
Kudos, man. Uh,
They
yeah,
won't.
that shit's wild to me. Like I don't think I it makes no sense the amount of blame that's put on coaches. Like it kind of does. Like they're at the front of the helm. Like they're the ones doing this stuff. Like you had a unanimous coach of the year, what, 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2 years
It
ago.
wasn't last year, right? Yeah, I think it was 2 years ago. Yeah. And it's like now all of a sudden he's not good enough. Could it just be like poor roster construction? Could it be that the West is just that damn good? Like,
So
granted, I know
they
they, if I recall right, they struggled in like they got a horrible record in clutch games, right?
so they had an unbelievable record 2 years ago. So they were the most clutch team 2 years ago, and that's what kind of drove them to that high seed in the West, and then sending the Warriors into a game seven. Like that's what made Sacramento fun. And when you can't do it consistently, you can't be clutch 24/7. So I think their light just burnt out the next year. But by my understanding, they had a hard time like communicating with Mike Brown because
Sure.
he wasn't, I wouldn't say he wasn't accountable, but a lot of the blame was like, oh, De'Aaron didn't do this right on defense, and that's why they scored, and that's why we lost. Or, oh, Sabonis didn't grab this crucial rebound, and then that's why we lost. It's like, no, there's a whole fucking game that you just played and you're just picking out one play. Like that's there was the one game was the game before he got fired was against the Pistons and he literally told the whole team, foul. You have to foul the shooter before he gets the shot off so then they can only get two free throws and then not three. So what happened, I think they were up by three was De'Aaron was playing help side defense and he left his shooter open. And then when he closed out, he fouled Jaden Ivey. He made the 3-pointer, made the free throw. They lost the game. So that's kind of what happened. And that's why Mike Brown kind of got singled out was because he, in his interview, said, I don't know why De'Aaron Fox was playing help side defense when his shooter was wide open in the corner. Their best shooter was wide open in the corner. That's unacceptable. That's something we have to fix. And I just don't think they liked that coming from their coach about their best player on the team. So they fired him. And they stated they are not going to get rid of De'Aaron Fox, so they're not going to rebuild. They're just going to stay in this purgatory of mediocrity with DeMar DeRozan, just like Chicago was when Lonzo got hurt. So
Tyler, you got anything to add before I go on a rant?
Nope, it's all you.
All right. Well, it's not really going to be a rant. I guess, like, to me, and I don't know if this is just kind of like how my upbringing has been, like, with like bowling tournaments and whatnot, but like, if somebody calls me out, maybe I shouldn't do what caused me to be called out. Like, if that makes sense. Like, I understand it's, different in the NBA because you got national media and whatnot, and he probably should have gone about that in a different way. But I just think that just shows like a complete lack of mental like toughness and mental intensity. Like if you getting called out for not doing your job is enough to like piss you off and potentially like ruin the next few games for you, like do better then. Like I don't know what to tell you. I know
they
it's kind of like a kill or be killed kind of thing, but it's just like you're professional athletes. Like constructive criticism should be a blessing.
right. So this is from De'Aaron Fox's point of view.
Yep. Yeah. No. Yeah. And again, like I think that's fine and all, but like again, if I'm De'Aaron Fox, it's like, yeah, no, that's a good point. Like I shouldn't have left that guy open. I should have closed out quicker. I should have done whatever. Like you got to take accountability at some point.
Right.
Like if you don't make that mistake and you stay on your defensive coverage, your defensive scheme, then you're not in that position and things are completely different.
Yeah, I would wholeheartedly agree. That whole situation's stupid. The Sacramento Kings will show why their organization is dog shit. they will continue to show why they are the worst organization to be ran next to Chicago, and it'll continue. So thanks, Sacramento, for giving us one hell of a year 2 years ago and now being butt cheeks. Let's get into
Dude, they were I'm sorry, really quick. Like I was so high on them like 2 years ago. Like after the whole the beam stuff, like they were just electric. Like the Sabonis Halliburton trade, like we said that it was perfectly balanced trade. Like it's such a bummer to see teams that have such a high octane offense and are so high octane just kind of fizzle out. Like that's a bummer because I really enjoyed watching those guys. Hated playing against them. Loved watching them.
right.
But yeah, that was it.
Taking a look at kind of the standings, we only have about 7 minutes left on our meeting. Cleveland's still on top. They are 30-4. Like that's I don't know about you guys. I'm taking them as like the number two team to win the championship next to Boston. I still don't think OKC is there. I think it's going to be Boston and Cleveland, but that's just me.
I mean, if Karis LeVert keeps shooting how he's shooting beyond the arc, that's going to be. I feel like that's going to be the make or break, especially like Cleveland has already established themselves like from the beginning of the season. And sure, they may have like lost that little spark, but they're still in fuego
Right. Good term.
because yeah, they're just so they're just
So
so deep
who's deep?
in the bench. They're the
Oh,
deepest in the league.
oh.
They're the deepest.
Where's
For
Por
what I think, especially because
Pornhub
Mobley's coming
logo?
off. What?
Pornhub logo insert.
Boo, ba-dooch. But even Mobley's kind of expanding his range a little bit. He's gonna start rocking the baby or doing a little shimmy soon.
Right. We talked about a month ago, we did our early All-Star voting, and I had three Cleveland Cavalier players go to the All-Star game. I don't know if it's changed. To me, it's not. I think all three of them. I think Mitchell, Garland, and Mobley. I don't think Jared Allen will get in there, but it will be Mitchell, Garland, and Mobley who will make it in.
Sorry, they just hit the North Tower.
I
Now
gotta,
there's only one.
I gotta edit that out.
No, you don't.
Now the one thing that I did want to talk about, guess who the number one most fan voted player was in the
Cat.
NBA? Nope.
Huh. Fan
Oh, dude,
voted?
I just
Fan.
looked at these like 2 days ago too.
It's a point guard, and one of us here absolutely hates him.
James Harden.
No, hates.
Yeah, I know because
LaMelo Ball?
It's LaMelo Ball. He was
Oh
the
fuck.
highest fan
That shouldn't
voted.
count. He's on Charlotte. Who cares? You
He
want to talk
was
about piss poor fucking organizations? I could average 30 with Charlotte, and I shoot like Helen Keller would.
this is our final episode after that.
We're cut off. We're cut
Yeah,
off.
Oh,
that's done.
oh, the
I
tower
have some.
joke is fine, but boy,
The
Helen Keller.
tower joke.
Okay, no, it's not about that. It's about you being a good basketball player. Shut up. Get
I'm
out of
sorry. I
here.
was I was 7-0 when we played together. What was your
No
record?
proof. No proof. Carrying
Um,
on. Um,
LaMelo's having a fantastic season.
very. Yeah, I think he'll make it. They're
How
the
how
14th
far
seed.
how far away was I always want to call him Julius Randle. I don't know why. Point guard for Jalen Brunson. There we go. How he was pretty high up there for the votes, wasn't he?
I don't know. That's all I saw was just a LaMelo Ball
Okay.
thing. But Cat had like 2 times as many votes this year than he did last year.
Yeah, Cat's killing it.
Yeah. Even that,
that's
like his stats, obviously he was a good player for us in Minnesota, but I think the New York love is showing.
Oh, big
he's
time.
shooting the best from. He's shooting 44% from three. That's the best he's ever done in his career.
Yeah, there's a reason why he deserves the votes. And we traded him.
He deserved the votes here too, but we're Minnesota. Nobody gave a shit.
Minnesota. Go Gophers. Sorry.
I think Ant's what, number 5 in guards right now?
I wonder if I can look up.
Because it's Luca, Shea, Steph. I feel so dumb that I'm not able to remember the
NASCAR
other.
All-Star voting.
Fuck
Yes.
NASCAR.
Going high.
How come I can't see the
Um, one thing, since Anna is on the topic, I feel like he's going to be the new cat because he's doing everything and then he's wasting potential and then he's going to get traded away to like Golden State. And he's going to become this all-star doobie boobop
Well, he already
man,
is an all-star, silly.
a better one.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know.
Oh, okay. So
I was just yanking your chain.
so
watch this bees last season.
on the Twitter post that I'm looking at right now, Anthony Edwards is fifth in the guard voting.
Okay, who's
Hmm.
fourth? I can't think of him.
Kyrie. It's
Oh yeah, Kyrie.
Shea,
Yeah, I
Luca,
still
Steph,
forget
Kyrie.
he's West.
Which
That turns out
honestly,
Kyrie's good.
those four deserve it way more than Anthony Edwards does, in my opinion. I think Ant's had a good year. His team's not very good, and it's just he's not giving us the prolific superstar talent that he did last year.
I yeah,
Who?
I
And
think I think
Yeah,
I think there's a lot that goes into it. I think the biggest thing I was thinking about this on my way home from the gym. This team just lacks an identity. Like last year was like here's like not a grit and grind Grizzlies kind of thing, but like here's a tenacious defense, nasty on the interior. You got a prolific offense, and now this year you've got still a top 10 defense, but you got a super mid offense. Like Timberwolves
it
don't have an identity.
it's not fast anymore. It's kind of slow. They play slower. They're shooting a lot more threes. Mike Conley is not dishing the ball as well as he used to. He's not shooting well. There's no
Oh,
point
don't,
guard play.
don't.
Dante DiVincenzo shooting 32% from three when he's supposed to be shooting 40. It's just hurting the team. I think eventually we're going to bench Mike Conley and Nickeil Alexander-Walker is going to be starting at the point guard spot because he has played really well. But he is a prolific bench player, and it's hard to take him out at a spot that he's so successful in. There
Yeah, and
has
he's
That will conclude this episode of the Hot Corner podcast. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. And thank you guys for listening. Please leave your comments down below, subscribe,